Alright guys, ito na ang ating gaming review with the Poco F4 GT using a cooler. So tingnan natin kung magiging stable ba, magiging super playable ba, kung magiging smooth ba ang games with Diablo Immortal, COD Mobile, Genshin Impact, and Mobile Legends on 120 FPS. So, eto na. Let's do it. Okay, so let's start with Diablo Immortal. Check natin yung settings. So, as you can see here, naka 60 FPS tayo. And yung resolution niya is, we can't set it to ultra. I guess iPhones pa lang ata meron ganong settings. So, ayun. So, most of our settings is set to high. And, okay, so dating gawi. So, as you can see on the bottom, yan yung FPS natin. Yung nasa circle, yun yung actual FPS ng game. And then yung line graph, yun yung trend. And upper right corner, FPS is, we can see 57.22. So, yan yung average FPS on our whole playthrough. So, parang alam na natin na smooth kasi napakataas ng FPS eh. Pero may introduce tayong bagong metric ngayon. Ito yung 1% low. So, si Diablo Immortal got a 1% low of 23.02. So, ano ba ang 1% low? So, bali, paano ba natin ito explain? Actually, ito yung lowest FPS na na-render ng phone natin. So, in a span of like 5 or 10 minutes, kung ang highest niya is 60, then yung lowest niya is there. The 1% frames na na-render niya is, yung average niya is 23.02. So, dito actually natin malalaman kung naglalag ba yung game or hindi. Kasi actually kung ang FPS natin all throughout is alam mo yun, is running at 60. Literal lahat 60. So, it's obviously a very smooth playthrough. Pero tulad nito na matagal na gameplay, merong ibang frames na bumababa siya to like 15 or 20 or 40. Pag in-average mong lahat yun, hindi niya ganun nahahata kasi halimbawa 1,000 na frames. Pag in-average mo yun, kahit isa lang doon ng 23, mataas pa rin makukuha nating average. That's why we have the 1% low. So, like, unang tingin pa lang natin nito, 57 FPS, okay, it's very good. It's a very high average FPS. Ngunit, kung makikita natin yung 1% low na 23, it means, no, habang naglalaro tayo, nag-dip yung game up to 23 FPS. So, malalaman natin na yes, naglalag pa rin siya or nagcha-choppy siya. So, yeah, eto. So, we have a playthrough here of Diablo for how many minutes? Hindi ko na in-include lahat ng game. Syempre, I've only added yung mga magagandang parts. So, ang comment ko dito is kahit na nag-i-stutter siya on some occasions, alam mo, may enjoy mo pa rin yung game. Like, most of the time is running really smooth. It's really consistent with the 60. Meron lang talagang times na nagdi-dip siya, like especially pag nasa town ka, like may mga ibang players din or probably connected din sa connection. So, yeah, but overall, my experience here is really good as long as you're using a cooler with the Poco F4 GT, magiging smooth ang gameplay natin. Actually, yung cooler ko, this is like the cheapest variant nung Black Shark. So, I guess if you use the higher end, like yung 2,000 plus model nila, maybe you'll get better frames. Or maybe pag nasa aircon pa kayo na kwarto, di ba? Siyempre, mas mag-i-improve. Ito kasi, I just do this on my living room. And actually, yeah, I'm sorry, meron din palang air conditioning unit here. Pero hindi siya nakasagad. Nakahampas lupa mode lang siya to around 26 or 27 degrees centigrade. So, kung alam niyo kung naka-AC yung room nyo to like a lower temperature, maybe like 22 or 20 degrees centigrade or Celsius, then yeah, you might actually get better frames. Yeah, also I wanted to thank the you know, all of the people who watched my full review of the Poco F4 GT, you know, so I really appreciate those comments. And ayun, napapansin nyo, nagre-reply ako sa lahat ng comments. So kung may question kayo, kayo mahiya, you know, just comment it there. And I'm quite sure I'll be able to check those and respond to those questions or comments or whatever. Ayun, lalo na mga bad feedbacks, I highly appreciate that so that we can further improve the channel. So I guess we're on this mini boss, and spoiler alert, natalo ko siya. Wow. Syempre. Alright, and our next game here is Mobile Legends. So check lang natin yung settings. So naka ultra refresh rate and ultra graphics tayo. So what it means is naka 120 FPS mode tayo. And okay, there we go. So at first dito, actually hindi ko muna siya sinet sa performance mode. Nakaset muna siya sa balance mode. And as you notice, the frame is only running at 90 FPS. So, yeah, yun na talaga yung nature or behavior ng phone. If you set it to balanced, 90 FPS lang siya. Kahit nakaset ka sa 120 FPS sa settings, magkikick in lang yung 120 FPS pag in-enable mo ang performance mode doon sa Game Turbo app. As you can see here, ayun na, nag-kick in na yung 120 FPS. So, yeah, it's all good. Using with a cooler, napansin ko na hindi siya ganun uminit, not unlike pag wala yung tipong mapapasa na yung kamay mo. And dyan, ang average FPS natin is 101, 1% low of 85. So kahit malaking agwat niya, hindi mo mafe-feel yung dip kasi it's still over 60 FPS. So our second playthrough, ito we're running the performance mode all throughout the game. So actually hindi siya nag-dip to 90 or 60. It was running 120 FPS all throughout the game. So malaki talagang tulong pag gumagamit tayo ng fan cooler para sa ating Poco F4 GT. So there, 1% low of 99.31, average FPS of 115.03. So comparing this with our Diablo playthrough na 57 FPS pero nasa 20-ish lang yung 1% low. Yeah, that's really an indicator that the game is lagging. So actually it's not all about the average FPS. So ito, medyo advanced na to. Kasi sa PC, we just don't use FPS to gauge kung gaano ba ka-smooth yung gameplay. We also use 1% low. Kasi ayun, kita mo kaagad dalawang metric lang yan. Kita mo na kaagad kung laggy ba yung game or hindi. So yeah, okay. So with Mobile Legends, that's a toy line. Mobile Legends, so far very good ang experience ko dito. Well, even on 120 FPS, as long as you're using a cooler, really no complaints. Ayun lang talaga, medyo hassle lang. I guess if you're gonna be outdoors or sa school or sa office or on your way back home, sa train, sa bus, yeah, I would advise you to just use 60 FPS. That's the high setting. Yung super kasi yun yung 90 FPS. Kasi yun yung ultra, yan yung 120 FPS. Kasi I don't know, I mean, hindi sobrang laki kasi yung difference ng 60 and 120 FPS. I mean, I guess kung nasa competition kayo, okay pa pero kung casual gaming lang, alam mo yun, there's just a lot of compromises if you use 120 FPS. Number 1, yung battery mo, mabilis madrain. Number 2, kailangan mo ng cooler. And number 3, you might actually compromise the health of the hardware, you know, yung SoC, yung battery. So yeah, pinaka-safe talaga is 60 FPS. So ayun. On our next game, it's COD Mobile. Check lang natin ang temps. So yeah, around 41, So sa front glass we're getting 40.2, so it's not really hot. And let's check the graphic settings. So we'll set it to very high, and then max frame rate, and i-enable na rin natin yung mga settings lang, depth of field, and yan, ragdoll, anti-aliasing, etc. So there, let's start a ranked match here. So yeah, ayun. Again, as I've mentioned with our full review of the Poco F4 GT, it doesn't really play at 120 FPS. I don't even know why they're doing that, or maybe something that they do with the graphic settings. But yeah, I'm only seeing 60 FPS talaga, and I trust this benchmark tool that we're using. Yeah, again, all of our gaming reviews is being sponsored by, or is sponsored by, Wetest Perfdog. Meron silang 20% discount actually this month of July, so July 2022, 2022. So if you wanted to avail that, alam mo yung kung game developer ka, or phone reviewer ka, or phone enthusiast ka, and you wanted to get these results, benchmark results of your phone or your friend's phone or whomever, punta lang kayo sa website ng Wetest. I'll be putting a link here on the description box, and just click on the chat box and lagay nyo lang yung discount code na Biscuit TV, and you'll get 20% discount. And actually, napakadali lang talaga siyang gamitin. Hindi mo kailangang i-root yung phone mo. It even works on iOS, Android. It works on Windows. Yung app kasi na may kailangan ka pa kasing i-install na app for you to get those benchmark scores. So those are compatible as well with both Windows and Apple. So there. Okay, so with Call of Duty Mobile here, I think I had a really great playthrough here. I guess hindi sobrang magaling mga kalaban namin. I was able to get a lot of the perks. Syempre kasi ang smooth ng graphics. I mean, come on. The perks of using a cooler. So, no complaints here sa Call of Duty Mobile. Not unlike pag walang cooler. Adjust talaga siya. Nagda-throttle yung FPS to like 30 or even 25 FPS. But now using a cooler, I would say even if you play for a long time, it would still have a really smooth frame rate. So yeah, kitang-kita nyo sa graph po. It always stays on 60, and there, our average FPS is 57.82. 1% low is 50. So again, that's telling us na yung pinaka lowest FPS niya is 50, which is still near the average score that we got. Okay, and finally, Genshin Impact. So we've been playing this for like almost 2 hours now, I guess, or more than 2 hours. And there, as you were able to see the settings, naka-high settings lahat, and naka 60 FPS. And dito, kailangan natin gamitin din ng performance mode, kasi kung hindi, it will run on 30 FPS. So yun, with Genshin Impact, performance mode plus cooling fan, you should get a really smooth gameplay. And not really 60, but yeah, highest I can get here is 50. I would say on your first 15 minutes, you'll get that 60 FPS, close to 60 FPS, like probably 58 or 57. Pero pag tumagal ka nang naglalaro, nag-a-adjust din siya to like 50. So, here with Genshin, we got 49.18 average FPS, which is okay na rin. It is kind of good na rin. Pero, with the other phones I've tested, like the Black Shark 4 and the Poco F3, it was able to do better. It was like 53, I guess, or sa Poco F3 and then 55 sa Black Shark 4. But yeah, there's not really a perfect phone at the 20k price point, right? Especially naka Snapdragon Gen 1 phone chipset ka pa, di ba? Magrereklamo ka pa, bumili ka ng mas mahal, di ba? So ito lang talaga, may small compromise lang talaga, which is quite doable naman, you know, on certain occasions. Kasi like for sure hindi ka naman, alam mo yun, hindi ka naman talaga pro gaming while you're in the bus or nasa mall ka. You know, most likely kung seryoso ka talaga maglaro, most likely nasa bahay ka lang or you know, somewhere with your friends. So pag casual lang, I mean, okay na yung kahit walang cooler. Just to set it to a lower setting again if you're outside of the house. So there, I guess that will conclude our gaming review. That's it. I'll be seeing you on the next one.